If you have a boy or a girl who is your best friend, your BFF, this might be a good book for you. We Are Best Friends by Aliki. This is a photograph of Aliki sitting on a couch being interviewed. Her full name is Aliki Brandenburg. She was born to a Greek family. Her mom and dad came to the United States from Greece. She lived in Philadelphia and studied in Philadelphia, worked in New York. And then she wanted to see what it was like in Europe, where her parents came from. So when she was traveling in Europe, she met a man, Franz Brandenburg, who was from Switzerland. They got married, they had children. For a long time, they lived in London, England. But Aliki remembered being an American all her life. She wrote about American topics. She did a wonderful biography of George Washington Carver, for example. And she's a world citizen who has contributed over 120 books to the world of children's literature. We Are Best Friends by Aliki. Best friends do many things together. On the left page, you see best friends breaking apart something that was built. Maybe they're going to fight about that. On the right, you see best friends down on the floor playing together and having a happy time. And you can see the dedication that the author gets to put in his or her books. This one, Aliki put, for Spiro and Stelio and best friends everywhere. Those are Greek names, so those are probably people in Aliki's family, but they're who she picked to have her book dedication. Peter came to tell Robert the news. I am moving away, he said. You can't move away, said Robert. We are best friends. I am moving far away, said Peter. What will you do without me? Asked Robert. Who will you play with? We will live in a new house, said Peter. You will miss my birthday party, said Robert. I will be going to a new school, said Peter. Who will you fight with? Asked Robert. Nobody fights like best friends. I will make new friends, said Peter. You can't move away, said Robert. You will miss me too much. But Peter moved away. There was nothing to do without Peter. There was no one to play with. There was no one to share with. There was no one to fight with. Not the way best friends fight. There was no fun anymore. I'll bet Peter doesn't even remember me, said Robert. It's a good thing he's not here. I'd have to punch him one. Hello, my name is Will, said a new face. I don't like freckles, thought Robert. I used to go to another school, said Will. I don't like glasses, thought Robert. My friends are all there, said Will. I don't like silly names like Will, thought Robert. It was fun, said Will. Not boring like this place. A letter came for Robert. A letter from Peter. Dear Robert, I hope you still remember me. I like my new house now. I like my new school now. At first, I didn't like anything. But now I have a friend, Alex. You are my best friend. But Alex is nice. It is fun to have someone to play with again. It is not so lonely. Love, Peter. Robert drew Peter a letter. He drew two friends building a fort. He drew them playing with their cars. He drew them riding their bikes. He wrote, If you were here, this is what we'd be doing. But you're not. Then he wrote, There is a new boy in school. He has freckles. Robert saw Will by the fence. Did you lose something? He asked. I thought I saw a frog, said Will. That's funny, looking for a frog, said Robert. What's funny about it? I like frogs, said Will. I used to have a pet frog named Greenie. He'd wait for me by the pond near where I lived. He must miss me a lot. I know where there are frogs, said Robert. Right in my garden. Aw, you're just saying that, said Will. I mean it, said Robert. You can see for yourself. If I had a frog in my garden, I'd share it, said Will. That's what I'm doing, said Robert. Robert and Will rode home together. They went straight into the garden. The frogs were there. One leaped under a bush, and Will caught it. I'll call you Greenie the Second, he said. You like me already, don't you? The frogs lay their eggs here every year, said Robert. It's almost time. My friend Peter used to come watch the tadpoles. He called them Inky Wiggles. He'll miss them. Why? Asked Will. He moved away, said Robert. Just about the time you came. I write him letters. Then you can write about the Inky Wiggles, said Will. They laughed. I haven't had so much fun since I moved here, said Will. Neither have I, said Robert. Robert wrote to Peter. Dear Peter, I can't wait until summer when you come to visit. The new boy is called Will. I showed him the frogs. He had a pet one near his home, but he had to move away, like you. He thinks Inky Wiggles is funny. I'll write when they hatch. Love, Robert. P.S. How is Alex? P.P.S. See you soon. Robert mailed the letter, then rode over to Will's house to play. The end. Just like Inky Wiggles can grow into frogs, the new kid can grow into a new friend. This book has been We Are Best Friends. It was written by and all the illustrations were drawn by Aliki.